Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gombe Family channel. I know that we have been gone for way too long from YouTube, but we have had a lot of different things happen in our lives and we wanted to update you. So we thought we'd do that today. So first of all, we no longer live in the village on the coast where my husband is from. We now live in Nairobi, well, on the outskirts of Nairobi. But we did so for many different reasons. First of all, I was working as an online teacher, online English teacher, for a little while when we initially moved, and I started working as an online English teacher in Dazo when we lived there, and it was very difficult because of the challenges that we face in the village setting. So for example, the electricity would go out for 8 hours, a whole day, and that would be a lot of anxiety on me because I would have classes scheduled, so that specifically was a huge issue for me. And then I had an old computer that would hold a charge for about 45 minutes, so that was an issue with the electricity. So that accompanied with the fact that I was actually having some significant medical issues because of the difference in culture, climate, hygiene compared to America, which is where me and Safari came from, to the village. So I had seen many doctors for those issues that I'll go into more detail in another video. But yeah, so with all of those things put together and a few other issues, we thought that it would be best to move to Nairobi for a short period of time and to just get on our feet more, to be able to have constant electricity for my teaching, to be able to be closer to doctors that could help me with my medical issues. And we also were looking into adoption. We actually still are looking into adoption. However, we have to wait 3 years before we can adopt a baby in Kenya because we have to be married for 3 years before they will allow us to adopt. And we were told that there could be loopholes around that, and so that's kind of one of the reasons we came to Nairobi now as opposed to 3 years from now. But that turned out to not be the case, and it would just be a much easier process if we just waited the 3 years. So that's what we intend to do. However, when we first came here, we didn't have anywhere to live. We just packed up our 3 suitcases and a couple bags, and we came to Nairobi. We had an Airbnb for 2 days, and so the day that we got here, the morning we got here, we put our suitcases in the Airbnb, and then we started looking at apartments. It was a Monday, and so I called different places from Facebook Marketplace and a couple other online places, and we went and looked at 2 or 3 apartments. And the third one that we looked at, it was in an area that we liked because it was the outskirts of Nairobi and we didn't see any foreigners, which is a place that I like to live because I like to live more locally, The foreigners seem to gather in the richest places, especially in Nairobi. So I like to be in the places where there are not many foreigners. So we liked the area, but we didn't like the apartment. And there was a school right next to it, which we thought was awesome. But the apartment it was really small. It was kind of dark. There wasn't a lot of natural lighting. So we just looked around the neighborhood, like we stopped at some market shops and things. And then we found a restaurant, like one of the small restaurants they call hotels here. So we stopped at the hotel and we ate lunch, and we talked to the lady that owned the hotel, and she said, "Oh, I think that there's an apartment for rent like right behind my hotel in a gated community." And we were like, okay, like we'll go over there and check it out. So we went and we talked to the security guard, and he was like, yeah, like it's on this street to go over there. And we're like, okay. So we just like kind of walked around, but we didn't see anybody, and we're not gonna just walk into people's gates. So we went back up to the front gate, and he was like, did you find it? And we were like, no. And so he walked with us and showed us where it was, and we got to tour the apartment and we really liked it. We wanted a 2-bedroom because we weren't sure how the adoption situation was going to go. And in order to adopt in Kenya as well, you have to have a certain amount of space for the family members, right? So me and my husband have to have a room, then our daughters have to have their own room, right? So we wanted a 2-bedroom apartment, and that's what this was, a 2-bedroom apartment. And so we really liked it, and we talked to the landlord's wife, and so she called her husband and she was like, there's people here that want to rent, and we talked to him. Very nice guy, and we didn't have to pay a deposit or anything. And so I was like, when can we move in? And he was like, you can move in whenever. We can talk about like partial rent for this month, and then we could do like regular rent after that. And so it was perfect. So we moved in 2 days later because we had had the Airbnb for 2 days. So when that was over, we moved into this apartment, and it is perfect. I love it so much. We have so much more space, obviously, than we had in our studio apartment when we were in the village, and it's just allowed us to grow as a family so much. There are some pros and cons, of course, to living here. The girls have so many friends here. So in this gated community, there are so many kids of all ages. So mainly on Saturday and Sunday, they go outside and play because all the kids go to school. Our kids are homeschooled, so they stay inside during the week, and then on the weekends they go out and play with their friends, and there's so many kids for them to play with. So that is definitely a pro to us moving here as opposed to other places that might not have this gated community vibe. However, me and Shaha feel really isolated being here away from his family. So he is really used to like the sense of community that you get in the village, you know? So you'll be at your land, at your home, and your neighbor will just come by to say hi, or people are walking by saying hi while you're doing the laundry or cooking a meal, you know? And he really loves that sense of community, and so do I. That's one of the reasons I came here, you know, that I want to see the difference in life and culture. So being here, me and Shaha typically stay inside most of the time. Unless we're going grocery shopping, we stay inside. And that's not intentional, but we don't know anybody here, you know. Everybody that lives in this community has lived here for a long time, you know, so they know their neighbor and they go outside and talk to each other, you know. And Shaha is used to the sense of community that he has from his tribe, and his tribe doesn't have many people in Nairobi, so he feels kind of like an outsider, and of course I feel like an outsider, you know, so it's just kind of me and him against the world here. But we did have those things that we wanted to look into, like adoption and just getting closer as a family, so we don't regret coming here. Another aspect of coming here is that we wanted all of us to be looked at as equals. So we have Georgina and Shaha, who are from Kenya, and then we have me and Safari, who are from America. When we were in the village, that's how people would look at us. Oh, the foreign two, and then the local two, right? So whenever they talked to Georgina, they would talk to her in Giriama, which is the mother tongue. And whenever they talked to me or Safari, they would talk to us in English, you know? But here, in Nairobi, many people talk in English amongst each other, you know? So actually when his wife first met Georgina, she only talked to her in English because she didn't know that she spoke Swahili, which was awesome and exactly what I wanted. I want people to look at us as a blended family. I don't want people to look at us as, oh, these ones and these ones, I'm gonna treat them different, you know? And we have really got that here, you know, when the girls go outside and play with their friends, they're treated similarly, you know, not exactly the same, because now the kids outside know that Georgina speaks Swahili, but they're treated a lot more comparably than they were in the village. So that is a very good thing, and I really enjoy that. We are also just getting to know each other better as a family, you know, like me and Shaha just got married 5 or 6 months ago, and the girls haven't lived together for their entire lives, you know? So they are now becoming best friends. Yes, sometimes they have arguments or tell on each other for dumb things, but that's sisters, you know? So they are really close. They share a room. They do chores together. They go outside and play together, you know? So they are getting really close. And me and Shaha are able to get really close too because we aren't surrounded by other people's influences. And I really think that that is a pro of being here isolated. We know that this is temporary, so it's okay. And it's allowed us to have deeper conversations, to get to know each other more, to understand when this person says something, they don't mean it this way, they mean it this way. You know, like we have really got to know each other on a deeper level because we are able to spend 24/7 together. And I appreciate that so much. However, we don't want to stay here for an extended period of time because it's just not something that makes either of us happy in the sense of the lack of community. And Safari kind of feels the same way. Georgina definitely feels the same way because she is used to the village community and being around her cousins and her neighbors and all of that. So we intend to move back to the village soon as in like mid next year, because we have some commitments that we've already made here in Nairobi that we want to finish up before we move back to the village. So I wanted to give you guys this life update and tell you how excited I am to be back on YouTube and how much more serious I'm going to be about YouTube. I think that our family is very unique in the sense of I haven't seen any other families on YouTube that are blended families living in Kenya, American Kenyan, that have one American child and one Kenyan child. I think we just have the vitiligo aspect as well. I think we just have a lot of aspects of our family that are very unique to us. And I think that we could teach people a lot of different things about living together as people from different backgrounds, as well as living in Kenya more like the locals than like the foreigners, because that's something that I don't often see also. So we will continue to update you on our lives, and our next 2 videos will be a tour of our new apartment here in Nairobi, as well as my dreams of our future in the coming year or 2 and how we are going to achieve those dreams. So I really hope you guys will stay tuned so that you can hear about our dreams and see exactly how we live here in Nairobi. So I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.